Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today we'll be discussing the announcements of D23, that's the Disney Expo. And we're going to talk about their upcoming park extensions, and we're going to talk about Universal's Epic Universe is upcoming park, and just some general reviews of the current rides at the parks, because I was just there in Hollywood, in California, Disneyland and Universal Hollywood, and I think PJ, you were there somewhat recently too as well.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about these rides.
And man, those D23 announcements were like rapid fire. I mean, every time you looked on social media, they were just like, "Here's another announcement. Here's another." It was crazy.
Yeah, and just for those, I didn't know this, PJ, but so I was kind of confused. I'm like, why do they keep calling it D23? I thought it was like, D20, D2021,
Right.
So D23 for those who are just curious. So D obviously stands for Disney, and the 23 stands for 1923, which is the year Walt Disney founded the company. So every year when they do this expo, it's called D23. So
wow.
But yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So the biggest thing is for D23, I think, PJ, on our list is at Walt Disney World. This is in Florida. They're going to take out Tom Sawyer and the Rivers of America to put the new Cars Land there. So what's your are you
I'm
a
okay
purist,
with
PJ?
this.
Yeah,
I'm totally okay with
it
because I could, if I went to Disney World every day for the next 10 years straight with no break, I would never step foot on Tom Sawyer's Island. So at this point, get rid of it and give me some cars. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever really do Tom Sawyer's Island?
I went there, I think when I was a kid, when the first time I went to Disney, because that was like a big deal. You went on the boat, and, the ferry boat. That was like big at the time. That was like different. Nowadays, it's not special anymore, and it's really kind of like just outdated and really boring. So
It really is.
I know there's some people who are like, I get it, they're like the Walt Disney purists, and I get it. Oh, it's one of his OG things, and I get all that. I appreciate that. However, I think
Sometimes change is good.
yeah, you got certain things you just got to get. This is okay. I really do think this one's okay. And
I used to like when they had the cookie stand. You remember that?
Yeah.
You could take the boat over, and they had the really good cookies on Tom Sawyer Island. But they haven't had that in a million years either.
I think at one point, I think I'm getting mixed up between each park, but I think they had like the Swiss Family Robinson house at one, and then
something like
I know
that.
Disneyland they have it like separate, it's not on that island, like a walkthrough attraction. But yeah, I'm just I know a lot of people kind of are calling it, instead of Frontierland, they're calling it Frontierland, which I think is a pretty good joke. But I love. We're gonna get into the rides a little bit later on, but the Cars Land. Have you ever been to Cars Land, and the one in Disneyland?
Yep.
Yo, how awesome is that section?
It's great. I love it.
It's for those who've never been there, and if you're like a fan of the movie Cars, or just even if you're not a huge fan, that whole section is just. It's just like the movie really came alive. I think it's actually better than the Star Wars Land. We'll get in that.
I don't know if it's better than Star Wars Land, but I do like it. I think it's themed really well.
Exactly.
And I think the rides are super fun. I know they have like the that Luigi ride, and it's almost like it's like Square Dancing with Cars.
Yep.
I thought that was super fun.
Yep. And they have another one that's like almost like a scrambler. It's like Mater's Scrambler, which is cool. But the Cars ride itself, like the Radiator Springs Racer ride, is sick. It's like you get inside of one of the cars, let's say Lightning McQueen, for instance, and they kind of takes you through like a story, like, you're in Radiator Springs, and like you kind of go through a dark ride. You see all these awesome animatronics of the cars alive. That's awesome. And at the end, you actually do a head-to-head race with another car.
Yep.
And it's different every time. So I went twice, and one time I lost, and the second time I won. So that ride is awesome. So I think that's a great addition to Frontierland in Florida. And like you said, PJ, we're not going to miss Tom Sawyer. We're not going to miss those rivers.
No, we're not going to miss
it at all. So it's and they're going to break ground for that in this January. So it's pretty. They're not wasting any time.
In Paris, when you go to Disneyland Paris, one of the hotels, it's not a Cars themed hotel, but it's like very close to being Cars themed, because all the hotels in Disneyland Paris are sort of have an American theme to it.
Huh.
So one of them is like a Wild West, and one of them is like, is it Route 66 and all that shit. So one of
Right.
the hotels is like kind of based on that, and they put a lot of Cars stuff in it because it Radiator Springs kind of fits that theme, and it's very cool.
Oh wow, I had no
Yeah,
idea they did that. They're
yeah,
kind of more centered around American things. Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Like the hotel
Hmm.
I stayed at in Disneyland Paris was like Wild West themed, and then they
Right.
had one that was like I said, like racing Route 66 themed and stuff like that. And so yeah, they have a lot of different themes. If you ever get a chance to go to Disneyland Paris, I would totally recommend you do that.
Yeah.
It was very fun, but and it's similar to Disneyland in California in terms of scale. It's a
Mm.
two parks and the scale of it, but that's also a really great park. I don't. They had a few Disneyland Paris announcements, but nothing earth
Yeah.
shattering. I don't think.
The biggest one I think is they're going to add an animal king, a Lion King,
Yeah.
right? Which kind of from the concept art looks like almost like a Splash Mountain
Yep,
kind of
I'm
vibe.
thinking that's what they're doing,
Hmm.
taking their Splash Mountain and making it Lion King themed.
Hmm. So, yeah, I think that's great. I know they're trying to. I think the only one that's going to keep the regular, original OG Splash Mountain is actually Japan. I think
Hmm.
that's the only one that's going to keep it the way it is. But yeah, I think that's exciting. The next announcement they had was at Disney Hollywood Studios. This is in Florida. They're going to build the Monsters Inc. coaster. So if you're familiar with the movie, the part where they're swinging on
Hmm.
those doors, they're going to make their first suspended roller coaster, which is pretty cool. They're going to have the Aerosmith
Yeah.
ride, and they're going to have that
Yep.
coaster, which is pretty awesome.
And from the concept art, my sister looked at it, and she thinks it's going to be similar to like the Harry Potter ride that they have in Universal. And I can see that the way they're doing it because it's not like a traditional looking roller coaster. I think it's going to have like a big screen, and you're going to see all that stuff fly by the same way the Harry Potter ride works. It does look cool. There is one big problem with the Monsters Inc. ride,
Yes.
and I
It's
think we're going to have the same problem with it. Is
yeah,
that they're taking over the Muppets?
yeah, that's most likely, most likely.
Ugh,
So
I love the Muppets. I don't want to
yeah,
lose them.
yeah, because for those who don't know, who have been there, the Muppets have a 3D theater show, and it's awesome. It's like probably one of the best 3D shows ever,
And
and
it's
it's still
super fun.
yeah, and it's like it hasn't like besides like the video quality, it's made in the '90s. Other than that, I mean, the comedy still works, the effects still works. It's a great show. So, but unfortunately, Disney
Uh,
someone has to get. There's a YouTube channel. His name's Mickey Views. He's excellent, and he does a uh, just awesome coverage about the parks, like really objective and not biased. He's really great. But he was saying, as a recommendation, they should really get rid of Animation Station.
hmm
Remember back in
Yep.
they used to draw things, which was a cool thing. And
Right, but they
now
don't
it's
do it
like
anymore.
now
So
it's like Star Wars' launch bay where they
the
you can
launch bay.
and which is basically a waste of space. It's
I don't know
so
if you've ever
boring.
been to the launch bay, but I've
No,
gone in it. It's basically there's a couple of things to look at, almost like a museum or whatever.
like a
And they do
prop
some
hall and
yeah,
stuff.
and they do some like photo ops in there. Like that's where you can meet Darth Vader because they didn't want Darth Vader and all the old school characters walking around Galaxy's Edge because Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be set in the sequel
Yeah.
trilogy time, so you
Hmm.
wouldn't see Darth Vader. So that was a way for you to still get to take a picture with like Darth Vader and R2 and whoever else. But I agree, get rid of that and do something better with that.
Yeah, but most likely.
I would like
Mhm.
to see the Rock and Roller Coaster get rid of Aerosmith because really, look, we know who they are, but no one knows who they are anymore if they're like a kid, and make that Doctor Teeth from the
Doc-
Muppets. Make
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like do that. Make it either a Doctor Teeth ride. This way, you can still incorporate Muppets somewhere, and you can
Right. Hmm.
have the whole beginning almost be exactly the same. But
Yeah,
instead of
then you
getting backstage tickets to seeing Aerosmith,
now
it's
you're seeing
backstage
Electric
tickets to
Mayhem.
see, and you could have like Kermit and whoever else do that little video in the beginning and retheme that to be the Muppets. And this way, you still get to keep the Muppets in the park, but you get a little bit more out of it. I think that way because otherwise, you're never going to see Muppets again in any of these parks. There's no way to put them.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great idea for
That's
a
that's what I
reskin. Because
yeah,
I
that's
know I
exactly
think
skinning.
Disneyland Paris or one of them they took Aerosmith, they turned into Iron Man. They j-
Yeah.
they
Yep.
they did a that's an awesome roller coaster, and I think the I guess the lease of Aerosmith is about to end anyway. They had it
Yeah.
for close to over 20 years.
And he
so
just retired, so it's like they're
yeah.
done.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So hopefully Muppets 3D can stay alive, but who knows? The next thing I was blown away by this one, and not in a good way, and not in a bad way either. But in Disney California Adventure, they're gonna add an Avatar land, another Avatar land, but it's based on
Yeah.
the second movie. But I can't believe it. I honestly think that's a bad idea. I just don't
I
think
I mean, you know
And I
my
like the
feelings on
one in
Avatar. I
Florida.
don't
I
think it's
like the
great.
yeah. I
Have
like
you
the park
done
in.
have you done the ride in Florida?
Oh yeah, the ride's awesome.
Okay.
That ride, that 3D 4D ride is awesome. But I just don't feel like that movie. It's not like a Star Wars. It's not a Harry Potter. It's not a Super Nintendo. Like I think people almost forgot about it. I know the second one made $1 billion, but I still feel it doesn't have the oof as those
Right.
other. You know what
I
I mean?
just feel like I'd rather if you're going to expand the parks, great, but do it with something a little more Disney than Avatar. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
I
get it.
agree.
They bought out Fox and all that. Like Star Wars has always been in the parks. Like from
Yeah.
the 80s is when that original ride
Yep.
opened.
Yep.
Like it's
Star
always
Wars.
been there. So it's like, all right, you want to expand on Star Wars, and Disney bought Star Wars. It feels like a natural progression because they already had the rides. But dropping in more Avatar shit, I don't know. There's got to be something better we could have put there. There's a million Disney movies with no rides. Give me a Hercules ride or something before you give me more Avatar.
Yeah. I was totally floored. I was like, ew. And I almost wanted it to keep it strictly just in Animal Kingdom to give that park because that park
Hmm
gets a bad rap. People call it a half day park, and I feel
That's
like
my
having
least favorite of
average.
the parks.
I understand, rightfully so. It's not much to do there. So, but
Right.
now we're gonna get into that
Yep.
shortly. But
They're
also,
trying to fix that. Yeah.
yep, Disney Calendar Adventure. So they're gonna have Avatar Land too, and I agree they could have put any other IP or land there, like you said, like any kind of. Oh man, we can go on and on. But they also put it, which I do like this, the Coco ride.
Yes,
I
that
love
I
that.
like.
That's
That
just
movie
gonna
is
fit right
great.
in. I feel like they're gonna put it right near Cars Land because it has like the
Mhm.
same kind of like landscape and
Yeah.
the colors and everything,
Same
the
color
orange.
scheme. Yeah.
Yep. So, but I think that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be from what I saw the concept, kind of like a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of vibe. So,
hmm
but I'm down for that, and I hope they almost bring a miniature version. They kind of just do another reskin. Sounds like I'm kind of tired of that, but you know what I'm going to talk about, the one in Epcot. The
hmm
one with Donald Duck,
Yeah.
the Calabaros.
Yeah. The Three
That's
Caballeros. Look,
yeah, that's it.
Epcot's one of my favorite parks, and I know it's not a lot of people's favorite parks because there's not a lot of thrill rides there. There's
Hmm.
only like one thrill ride, maybe two. Um, but I love Epcot because I love all the different countries. That's my one of my favorite parts of Disney.
Yep.
And that ride definitely needs an update, and Coco is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Everyone's going to be crying by the end of the ride as soon as they start playing Remember Me. That's the problem. But no,
Right.
I think that would be a perfect reskin of that ride is to make it Coco themed.
Yeah. So, but we don't know. We don't know if that's gonna. Hopefully that does happen. But I love Donald. But yeah, I think. But I am excited for the Coco ride in Disney California Adventure. But now, PJ, we're gonna go to your favorite park, Animal Kingdom.
Oh boy. Well,
So
they're trying their
yeah, no,
best.
they are. They try. Cause I love the rides they have there. The I guess the thrill rides. I like Mount Everest. That
Mount Everest
ride's
is
good.
great. I mean, I wish they'd fix that damn Yeti.
Yeah. There was a thing where they did like a promotion with Deadpool, I think, at this thing, and he came out.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
Ryan Reynolds, but some other actor, like miming him, and they made like he was commenting on the park, goofing on it. And one of the
yeah. I
goofs
saw
making
that.
fun of
Yeah.
the Yeti. Basically, for folks who don't know, they have a roller coaster that takes place on Mount Everest, and there's a Yeti, like an abominable snowman, a Bigfoot. Um, and back in the day when they first opened, it used to go like raw and move, and now it's just like stand
It's just
still.
stand
They
still, and
have a strobe light
there's like a
to
strobe light, and I think there's like a almost
just
like they
allow.
project something on the wall or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But they're gonna add a new land. They got, which I was happy about. They're getting rid of Dino Land. I hated that section. Yeah.
I I liked it, but it served its purpose, and it was time for a new one. Like I used to like they had that Dino Carnival thing, and
Yep.
I
Yeah.
always kind of like walking through that. But they got rid of that, and now you just have that Dino ride hidden in the back of the park, and it takes like 6 hours to just walk to that part of the park. I feel like
Yes.
it's so off the beaten path. You like, and you pass nothing. You're just like
Yeah.
walking and walking and
You're
walking
right.
to wait on the 2 hour line for that Dino ride. It
Yeah.
had to go. It had to
So,
go.
so what they're gonna put there, folks, they're gonna call. I think it's called Tropical America. They're gonna put basically and this is a common theme as we're gonna see. Disney's very right, and Universal too. They call it design once, built twice.
Hmm.
So Indiana Jones, they're gonna put Indiana Jones there, but
Yep.
the dinosaur ride they have right now is basically a reskin of Indiana Jones. It's basically the same track mechanism and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So should be an easy swap out. Um, but yeah, they're gonna. I'm actually excited. They're gonna make that section now, where Dino Land was is Indiana Jones, which is cool. They're gonna bring that ride, and they're bringing Encanto. So I never seen that movie, but
It's
it's
a
almost
good
very
movie. I've
Coco-like,
seen
very
it. That's
colorful.
the I can't think of the name of that character, but everyone was singing that song for a while.
Bruno,
Bruno, yes.
yeah, Bruno, something like that.
Yeah. It was a good movie. I liked it well enough. It totally makes sense to put something in the parks about it because it
Yep,
was very popular and it's new. And you got to bring in these new properties, these new IPs into the
yep,
parks to keep it from getting stale. I don't know if Animal Kingdom is the right park for it, but where else are you going to put it?
yep,
Like I don't see any scenario where Animal Kingdom and Indiana Jones really goes together. But where the hell are you going to put it? So I
yep.
had, what are you going to
Hmm.
do? Indiana Jones fits in with Hollywood studios more than anything, but there's just no
Yeah.
space.
Hmm. Yep. Which I'm gonna get into later when it comes to the parks and their themes. I think they're
Mhm.
starting to kind of just blend together. They don't know
Yep.
what to do with these places anymore. It's hard. It's difficult. Um, I just learned this recently. I saw this video. I think her name's like Jenny Nicholson. She's very good. But she was saying originally Animal Kingdom was supposed to have um like three different sections, like in terms of the park. Like you have like the real life, like
Hmm.
Asia, Africa, representing
Yep.
that. Then you have like today's world. I guess you have like modern, like conservation and helping out
Hmm.
animals, blah blah blah. And then the last thing was um they're going to have actually mythological creature land.
That would have been cool.
You're going to have like your dragons, all that crap.
Yeah.
But that never went through. They just kind of splattered Dino Land. Oh, which was also representing the past, but they just kind of
Right.
went full Dino. But
I
anyway,
think it would
yeah,
have
they're
been
gonna.
cool to have mythological creatures, but you know what? I think that would have been cool. Like, who wouldn't want a cool dragon ride? And they have dragons in Disney that you could use, but
Yep.
also it would take away from the real animals. I think
Yes. Hmm.
the last time I was at that park, we got there for rope drop, and the first thing we did was the safari, and we were
Hmm.
there during feeding time. And
Oh.
we got to see these like lions just like ripping apart meat. It was wild. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was
Cool,
the
man.
best time because I've gone on that thing and like normally you in the distance you see like a gazelle and you're like, I
Hmm.
think I saw something. But this time they were like right up in front of you eating and
Hmm.
like spread out and like you could see everything. It was really the best one. So moral of that story is the next time you're in Animal Kingdom, if you get there early enough, do the safari first so you could actually see the animals.
Oh, good to know. Yeah, I've also heard that if you go later in the day, like more
Yep.
another park closes somewhere early, animals like when it's cooler,
Yep.
so they may not be eating, but you'll see them hanging around more. So yeah, but I think definitely um, Animal Kingdom is going to benefit from that. Which leads to the biggest announcement, probably, in my opinion, is Magic Kingdom is going to get a Villains Land, PJ.
Yes.
OMG.
I think
Um,
it should have been its own park, to be honest with you. I think Disney
wow.
World, yeah. So, I mean, I'm cool with it being a land. I'm happy we're getting something villains
Mhm.
themed. It's about damn time. Disney has some of the best villains there are in their movies, so having a world with it and rides and all that is great. But the problem with Disney World is it's getting over congested in the parks again.
Yep.
And this is just going to make it more crowded in Magic Kingdom. And you already can't help but be in the personal space of
Yeah.
other humans in Magic Kingdom. This is going to make it even harder. I think if they would have opened up a fifth gate and made an entire villains world, and there is plenty of content to fill an entire park with
Oh yeah.
villains, I
Hmm.
think that would have made the parks less crowded
Yeah.
overall. And I don't think they would have been hurting to find a way to fill an entire park. So I don't know why they didn't just make this a villains park with a big evil castle or something like as the centerpiece. Almost make it like a twisted version of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because all of
Ooh.
those rides are from the hero point of view or the princess
Mhm.
point of view or whatever. This one would just be flipped and it would be the villain's point of view. You have plenty of content and it would have opened up so much space.
Yep, I agree, man. I agree. And my concern is, it sounds like they're going to start. breaking ground for that, like either later this decade or even the next decade, which is crazy. And my worry is, PJ, look, I haven't been to Florida since 2017, and a lot of people are not satisfied with the new Epcot updates. People like the Guardians
Yeah.
ride, but in terms of like that, I think they redid the front entrance, and they were supposed to have this other thing. 2020,
Yeah.
granted, the pandemic happened, so that didn't help them. But part of me feels, PJ, I don't know why. I just feel like this Villains Land is not going to be big. I feel for some reason I find it's going to be very kind of small and like,
I agree. I don't think
you
it's
know,
going to be big enough because how much I know they have all that space that they can use, but how much can you really fit into another? Because if you think about all of the lands in Magic Kingdom, right?
hmm
There's only 1 or 2 rides per land, really.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if you think about that circus area where they have Dumbo now in the back, there's
Yep.
the big circus tent, there's the Dumbo ride, there's the Goofy, that little like kids
Yeah.
Goofy roller coaster.
Yep.
But
hmm
that's the whole park. When you go through Adventureland, it's Pirates and it's the River Cruise, the Jungle
Yeah.
Cruise.
Junk Cruise. Yep.
There's really no other rides, and I think they might have the flying carpets might be part of that. But that's it.
Yeah.
There's only 2 big rides, maybe a small ride as a third one. When how much can you really fit in a world? Like even where they have Haunted Mansion, that's like
Yep.
the only ride in that part.
Yeah.
That and
Yeah.
the boat that's going away.
hmm
So
right.
I
Right.
mean, how much can you really fit into Villain's World if you're
Yeah.
just adding some square footage to an existing park? You're
Right.
going to get 1 or 2 rides. You're going to get a restaurant. You're going to get some shops. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah. You just made me remind me because that guy, I think his name's Josh Damaro. I think he's like the spokesperson. He's like
Mhm.
the talking sock puppet for
Yeah.
Disney. And he
Yeah.
was like, we're gonna have Villains World. We're gonna have 2 e-ticket attractions and shopping and dining. I'm like, yeah, bro. We know we're gonna have the merchandise. I
Yeah.
almost
So
feel
we
like don't
know.
even bother even announcing that part. It just turned me off when the way he said it. I'm like, oh wow, we're gonna have
You're going to get
shopping
a
and dining.
dark ride and a roller coaster when it could have been an entire park. You're going to get a Maleficent roller coaster. Like that's what it's going to be.
Yep.
You're going to get a
hmm
Maleficent roller coaster. And what's the other one going to be?
I
I
feel they might do like I call it like a collage ride where you're gonna have they're all gonna
Just a
team up
bunch
in
of
some
all
kind,
of them.
and they're all gonna be like we're gonna maybe you have Mickey fight them with the magic hat the sorcerer's hat
Yeah.
or something. But
I
but
think it
yeah
should have been its own world. And just think about it. If they would have made it its own gate, a mirror version of Magic Kingdom,
yeah
you'd walk in, and the first thing you would see is a dark, twisted castle. You'd go to the left, right, and you could have like a Jafar ride and like the
yep
Adventureland, whatever they wound up calling it. You'd have a
hmm
Jafar ride. You could do a Hades ride
yeah
instead of, I mean, all the villains they have. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
do something with like Scar, all the heavy hitters like
Right.
Ursula, just like I can picture like what's that the like northern what is it like you said like a twisted version like no it's Tomorrowland the Orbiter. You could have
Yeah.
Ursula,
But you're on like all the
using her
tentacles is like where
tentacles
you
and
sit.
shit,
Yeah.
and so
There's just
many.
so much they can do. I don't. I mean, they could even do Pixar stuff. Like you could have
Yeah.
like a Zurg. You know how they have
Oh yeah.
the the Buzz Lightyear ride. You could do like an Emperor Zurg ride or something. You can make it, or how cool would it be like a twisted sort of haunted mansiony ride of Sid from Toy Story with all the
Broken
creepy
toy. Yeah.
toys. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot you could have done, and you could have filled an entire park. This is just going to make Magic Kingdom, I think, a little bit more crowded than it can handle. I'm still super into it. I want to see it. I can't wait to see what they
hmm
come up with. I'm sure it will look great, but I
Yeah.
think it could have been more.
I agree. I agree. And the last 2 things, in terms of Disneyland, which we knew they're gonna redo Splash Mountain into
Hmm.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It was still closed when I went there. It just was just in
Yeah,
California. It's not open until November, which I think is kind of crazy because I know California is different from New York weather. But it might be a little bit cool, to go
yeah.
on a water ride like that. So, but yeah, I haven't been on the new one, the reskin. I'm not sure if we talked about this in another episode, PJ, but I saw videos. I did, the POV videos,
Yeah, I
and
did too.
I just can't. Look, I'm not. I'm upset that they got rid of the original design, and
Hmm.
whatever. I think, I think I'm pretty sure the original Song of the South, the Splash Mountain is based off.
Yeah,
that song Zippity
Zippity
Doodah
Doodah.
won. I think it won an Oscar. I'm pretty sure it won an Oscar. So anyway, I just felt that was just kind of like, wow.
Yeah,
So
I can't believe they got rid of it. I mean, I understand to an extent. I do understand why.
yes, I understand. Yep.
It's not that I don't. I just feel like I don't know anyone went on that ride and was like
Right.
affected in any particular way about it.
Right.
Nothing
And
about that ride screams we need to change it.
right. And the funny thing is, because the new version that I saw from the POV, which I was getting to, is I like when they do a retelling of the movie or the story. I like when they
Yeah,
do dark rides. But this one, she's going to she needs I don't know she's having a big party something like that at a restaurant, and she needs to get some kind of ingredients for her recipe. I just can't believe they didn't redo the scenes from the movie because
yeah.
well, according to the internet, they were saying that Disney didn't want to include like the voodoo thing because that would
Yeah.
be controversial. Because if you're familiar with the ride, they go to the laughing place, like, and
Hmm.
right after that's when the big drop comes. Like, wouldn't it
Yeah.
be great if you had, I don't know the villain's name from the movie, but he's like the witch doctor. He kind of looks
Yeah.
like the guy from James Bond films who has that skull face. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man, that's gonna be perfect. That'd be a
And
great
then you
swap.
drop.
And yeah, you're right. He's gonna be, I got your soul now. And
Yeah.
instead it's like, oh, we gotta, I don't know what they do with it now. I think she's like
There
that
was,
woman. She's
yeah.
like does her own magic, and she turns into like a small version. I don't know what they're doing,
But I
but
do
anyway.
believe I haven't been there for the new ride yet in Disney World, but I think they have the beignets now in the park,
Oh yeah,
and they're supposed to be like next level beignets. I don't know. I've never had them, but
yeah.
something to do when next time you're in the park is get a fried dough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. But that ride should be cool. It's a classic ride. Whatever. I mean, the storytelling the first one was awesome, and like I said, I haven't been on it, so I can't really. And watching a video is not giving enough justice.
Right.
But I look forward to going on it. But I think this is actually really cool. They're gonna make in Disneyland. I think they're gonna have like rotate the shows. They're gonna have their first ever Walt Disney, the man himself, as an animatronic, and I guess he's gonna
I
do
saw that. Yeah.
some kind of carousel of progress type kind of thing. He'll talk about how we started. I don't know, but it should be pretty cool. You know what I mean? I kind of like that idea. I know it's not thrilling for little kids, but we need to cool off.
Yeah.
Watch that,
Gotta
and
sit down for a bit.
yeah, it's gonna be what, a 5, maybe
Yeah.
10, 15 minute
I think
show.
it's cool. I want to see
So
it. I'm excited
yeah.
to see that.
hmm And yeah, and the only other thing, this is kind of going away from the parks, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but PJ just I thought of us because we were talking about sequels, and he was just saying we're coming out with Toy Story 5, we're
I know.
coming
It's
out with
like
Incredibles 3,
I
we're coming
know.
out with Mufasa. I was just
There's not an
like,
original thought left in the world.
right, and
We don't
PJ
need Toy Story 5. What the hell is Toy Story 5 going to possibly be about?
supposedly it's a from what the guy said, the Josh Damaro, wherever made the announcement, he was like, it's about I don't know if it's still Bonnie or whoever it is, but the main character is obsessed with, I guess, with like your cell phone and laptops, and I guess they learn to cope with that. But I'm assuming everyone here has seen the fourth one. Like I mean, the whole movie's got to be, at least half the movie's got to be about because him returning back to his friends. I mean,
Right.
you can't
Right,
just
because
let
he
it
left
go.
them. So how are you going
Yeah,
to have a Toy Story 5? There
whatever.
has to be a reason for him to get back. I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that in 5 minutes. Him returning to them, that has to be the
Wouldn't a
whole
better
them
movie?
reuniting, and I don't. I mean, I don't.
I think the movie should be what's his face? The kid, the original kid, Andy,
Andy. Yep,
right? He's now a grown up.
I know where
He's
you're gonna
got to
go
be
with.
pushing 40 at this point, right?
Right,
Like that kid's got to be our age.
right.
So now he should be like trying to find his old toys. The same way like we go out and we'll buy a Ninja Turtle toy if we see it because it reminds us of our youth. That should
Yeah,
be the movie. He's going out trying to recollect his toys and manages to get the same Woody back or something like that, like
yeah,
his Woody.
exactly,
And like he finds the Andy written on the foot or something, and he knows it's. I don't know. That could have been a better movie. I
exactly.
really don't
No, you're
care
totally like he
about
has his own kids.
laptops and iPads.
Right, exactly. I felt the same way. Like, I mean, like he has to get his toys back. Maybe he's like us. He wants to collect shit, and maybe he has a son or daughter. He wants to show him his old toys, and he asks his
Right.
Bonnie, like, "Hey, I know it sounds weird. I get my old toys back." And maybe Woody, Buzz puts like a email out, like, "Oh, calling old toys, find this." That could have. But it sounds like Who knows? Maybe this will be a I don't know if they ever like what is that, a prequel to a sequel. So maybe this takes place before Toy Story 4. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
But PJ, like you always say, no one wanted these sequels, but we live in a world.
Where will they exist?
so, um. So yeah, folks, that's the D20. Those are the huge announcements, and those are all cool. And now PJ and I got to talk about the Universal's Epic Universe. And before I talk about this, PJ, I think with all these D23 announcements, all I can say is this. I'm curious if you agree with me or disagree. I think Disney might be feeling the pressure with Universal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Epic Universe, and they put some good rides in all the parks. You know what I mean? And they're putting more. It's not just they're putting all their eggs in one basket. They just upgraded. They're putting a roller coaster in where I was just now in Hollywood. You know, they're putting they're doing. I mean, they redid they put basically a Shrek land, that like DreamWorks land that did that, you know, in Universal Studios in Florida. So they're definitely feeling the heat.
Yeah, Universal is doing a lot of cool things. Like it's tough for Disney to keep up with some of the cool things they're doing. I mean, another expansion of Harry Potter is just huge. But you know what worries me about Harry Potter?
What, PJ? I think I know about this.
Harry Potter is a Warner Brothers movie.
Yes.
So what if at some point they like pull the plug on that contract or something? What do you do with all this shit that you have? It's the same thing with like the Marvel stuff. I know they have a contract and Disney can't put any Marvel stuff
past the Mississippi.
Past the Mississippi. Like I get all that. But at some point if Disney really wanted to, they have all the money in the universe. They could buy that shit back. Like I'm sure of it.
I think the clinker is J.K. Rowling has like the last say.
Does she? Okay.
I'm pretty sure because I think originally Disney wanted to put a Harry Potter world,
right?
And I think they wanted to put like Mickey Mouse like in a Harry Potter. She didn't want any of that. She's like, do not Disneyify this, you know. And but yeah, I totally agree. And I think ever since Universal did Harry Potter, it like gave them like all of a sudden it just made them from like these little brothers to like these contenders. They've been like
all the money it brought in.
Yep, and they've been
all that Harry Potter money made that expansion possible.
Yep, and they've been on fire ever since that land has come about. So, but yeah, I love the Harry Potter lands, you know, and the one in Florida, the one in Hollywood, the one in Florida is bigger for obvious reasons, more space there. For those who don't know, the Universal Studios in California is actually on a more or less
like
a
on
cliff.
A hill.
Yeah. So you get to different sections of the park.
On a terrifying escalator.
Yeah, you have to go on these.
That's the scariest ride in the park.
Right. Yeah. If you're afraid of heights, that could be a little rough. Yeah. But yeah, because that's where you're you're right behind actually the back lot of the studios, the sound stages of the studios. So, but it takes maybe like 4 minutes to get down, you know. But you're on the escalators; they move fast. So, but yeah, but what they're building in Universal in Florida is called Epic Universe, and in this park, and I love in each section they're gonna have about, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, about 4 different sections. They're gonna have the movie Train Your Dragon Land,
which I love those movies, so I'm
never
really excited about that.
So
really, they're great.
I know, I gotta check them out. So I've seen like they're gonna have this. It seems like each section is gonna have like at least two to 3 rides.
Yeah.
You know, like one kind of like mild one, and then one crazy one, and then one like each kind of level.
Yep.
And I know for that land they have a roller coaster, some kind of water thing, and they have some pretty cool shows. They're gonna have like some kind of flying dragon contraptions in the air, like people basically parachuting or some kind of airplane show. So
I'm excited for that. I love those movies. The animation on those movies is so clean and so awesome. The storytelling is great. You should watch all those movies. You'll love them.
Yeah. I'm interested for sure. I'm really excited about this. The Dark Universe.
That the monsters?
Yep. So Universal has all the classic monsters. So like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, all those. Creature of the Black
That's
Lagoon.
Gonna be a good
and I
part.
know they really want to. We know that they try to attempt to make their own dark universe with the movies, but it failed with that. I never saw it, but it looked awful. The one with Tom Cruise, the Mummy.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, I think they're still capable of doing
They'll do
this.
it again.
they got to really keep it the same vibe as the one from Brandon Fraser. You know, if you made each movie, they don't have to intertwine and become the Avengers, but you just make an anthology and have them all part of the same banana. You know, the whole shit. I
I
think
would
it'd be
just make
great.
them horror movies. Just make
Yeah.
them straight up horror movies, just
Hmm.
like the originals were. Like that, you could redo that for sure.
Yep.
And I like the idea of using those monsters in the park. Universal has the horror nights, the Halloween horror nights, and that's such a
Yes.
big thing for them that I can't imagine they would do a dark world based on horror and not do it perfectly because the
Yeah.
Halloween Horror Nights is so big. That's going to
Hmm.
probably be the best of all the new things they're adding. I think that's the best one they're adding.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
Actually, just because I think it's just going to be freaking cool. And I just when I was actually at Universal, I did the VIP like experience. Basically, it's like you
Mhm.
get like the fast pass there, and you get like an exclusive backstage tour. So like I saw like the courtyard of Back to the Future, and I was on like the alleyway and where from Captain America: First Adventure when he's like running through this alleyway, he's getting chased when he's like kind of still puny.
Yep.
I was in that hallway, alleyway. But what I learned real quick is so back in the day, each studio had like its own like little niche. So Universal had all the monster movies, right?
Hmm.
MGM had all the musicals, and then Warner Brothers had all the film noir, all the detective films. So that was pretty cool. So it's
Yeah.
funny how for like a 20-year span, all these studios just made one basically specific type of film. So anyway, yeah, Dark Universe. Now, I know they're gonna have a roller coaster. It sounds like they're gonna have like a it's like the Wolfman roller coaster. They're gonna have a castle, like a Frankenstein's castle or Dracula's
Frankenstein, I think. Yeah.
castles, and it sounds like it's almost gonna be almost the same mechanism as the Harry Potter ride, but you're
Hmm.
gonna be fighting all the monsters, which sounds pretty cool.
That'll be pretty fun.
Hmm. And they're gonna have like a giant windmill that's gonna be on fire, like from Frankenstein. So it should be a pretty cool land. Um, I'm not sure if DreamWorks is the ones who made Transylvania, the one Hotel Transylvania. This is the one
It
with Adam
might be.
Sandler.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I can picture those characters bopping in
Yeah.
once in a
Yeah.
while, Um, this was really cool. I just went to the one in Hollywood. Super Nintendo Land is coming, and this one's going to be huge. This is where they're going to have because the one in uh, Hollywood right now, PJ, they only have one ride. That's it. There's not enough room for any other thing. But the
Hmm.
land itself is amazing. I mean, as soon as you walk through the green tube, boop boop boop, it's awesome. I mean, like wow. I mean, I was floored. It's almost blinding because all the lights actually, all the sunlight's
Right.
bouncing off it. But the land itself is great. I'll get into the ride itself, the Mario Kart ride later on. But really cool land, and they're gonna
They're
have the
supposed to have
Mario.
a Donkey Kong
Yep,
coaster or
it's
something,
also, yep.
right?
They're building the Donkey. Excuse me. They're gonna have the Donkey Kong coaster. They're gonna have a Yoshi ride, which is gonna be more like a family sit down, like
Hmm.
running through the.
But it's still going to be fun.
Oh yeah. And then lastly, they're gonna have it's called like I think it's like the when you're not inside these worlds, these universes, it's called like Celestial Park, which is basically like their Main Street USA, like the hub. But they're gonna have a nice carousel. But I love this idea for a roller coaster. They have a dueling roller coaster, and I think on the back of it, as an homage, they have like the flux capacitor. You know, um, it's called like Stardust Racers. I don't know, but you probably say, "Oh, Mike, what's so special? It's just a dueling steel coaster." Which is cool about it is when the ride is operating at night, they don't have any lights on the tracks, only on the coaster itself. So at night, it's going to actually look like a comet,
Huh.
flying around at night. It should
Right.
be, and it's going to
That
be
should be
pitch
pretty
black,
cool.
at night, so that's pretty wild. So yeah, and like I said, they're going to be building the Fast and Furious coaster at both parks. Not an Epic Universe, but in the original
In
Universal
the original
Studios.
Universal, yeah.
Actually, they're taking out the coaster to put that coaster in, which is
Which
crazy.
coaster are they taking out?
I think it's called Rocket.
Oh,
Uh,
that Rip Ride Rocket thing?
Yep. Actually, I didn't
Okay.
like that ride. That ride gives me like vertigo. I don't like
I
that
never
ride.
been on it.
Violent. That ride will kick your ass. Don't. So I'm actually happy they're getting rid of it. That thing was. I think people. I'm assuming people probably complain like that thing's beating your ass because you wouldn't get rid of a coaster. You would want to add
Right.
one. So anyway, and this is just another thing about what Universal is doing. So in Texas, they're going to build another park in Texas, but it's going to be more geared.
Really?
Yeah, it's towards children. It's going to be more like I guess like the Sesame Place of
Huh.
of Universal.
I
So
didn't
you know
hear
more.
about this. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's kids ride. Like we wouldn't go.
Yeah.
It'd be if you had
Right.
kids, but you're not. It's like us going to Sesame Place. What are we gonna do? Like jump
Right.
in the ball pit? you know. So, but yeah, they're gonna break ground there. I don't know when, but that's gonna be in Texas. So yeah, PJ, these two companies and their parks. I mean, it's
They're
good for
blowing
us.
them up.
Yeah. So, and look, I'm a big believer in. I think you would agree too, PJ, that competition is very healthy. It brings the best out of each other.
It does.
It's forever. Even sports, you want both teams. You want your Mets and Yankees to do well. You want your Angels and Dodgers to do well. It just makes everything better because it forces them
It
to.
forces them to up the game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's you see it with
Because Disney
wrestling,
really
all that
hadn't done
stuff.
any expansions of those parks until Universal started with Harry Potter.
Yep.
And then they had to combat that with Star Wars. And now they're combating Star Wars with something new. And so now,
Mhm.
now Disney needs to get something new and it just keeps growing from there. Eventually they're gonna just take over the entire state of Florida. It's gonna be nothing but theme park.
yeah. hmm So, folks, yeah, we just wanted to talk about that. I'm sure some of you might have the same opinions. Some of you might be like, ugh, but let us know. Comment with, whether it's on YouTube or on Podbean itself or whatever you listen to us, just let us know. But PJ, I want to talk about now some of the current rides, some of the big
Okay.
rides. And like I said, I was just in California, and I want to start with this one: Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. And all I can
That
say is,
ride.
unbelievable, unbelievable, folks. All I can say is like, it's definitely worth the wait. It was only like 50, it was like 60 minutes for it, which isn't bad, you know.
Not for that ride. No,
Soon,
that's
as
not
soon
bad
as
at
we
all.
walked in, we got right on. Which I mean,
Yeah.
as soon as we got into the park, excuse me, we went straight to that ride. We just hauled ass, you know.
It's
Um,
I mean, you can't explain in words that ride. It's phenomenal.
I mean, they
Just
took
the engineering involved to
yes.
make that
Oh my
thing do
god.
what it does. It's just
hmm
crazy.
Yep, and it's just the amount of hard work that went into that. Like
Oh,
that's definitely a lot of
and
passion
the
into that.
scale of it. Like when you
Yes.
see the giant AT-AT, you're like, that's a full-sized AT-AT. I don't know where they
Yep.
put this thing.
hmm
It's, I mean, it's just a sight to see. There's no
Yep.
other way to put it.
mhm,
And the ride is so fun too. Like it's innovative, it's different, it's fun, it's exciting. The story behind the ride is great. Everything about it. It's just, I think it's
Yeah.
the best ride in any theme park right now.
hmm I I think this one. I still think the Harry Potter Castle Ride is still the best ones right now. I think both. You can go either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Both of them are insane.
Yeah.
Um, for those who don't know, this whole Star Wars Land Galaxy's Edge takes place, like PJ said, in the sequels. That has like Ray Skywalker, all that crap. So, and you can see videos of this, so these aren't really major spoilers. But you basically wait online, then you get into a showroom, and then you're in this spaceship basically, and then you get captured, and you. I don't know. They do magic somehow, and they're
That magic is
transported.
unbelievable. I can't
Yeah,
figure out how to do it.
yeah. They
There's no way
somehow
to figure out how they do it.
they transport you because you do feel you're like, oh, it's just a motion simulator, but you're actually physically move
Yeah.
seamlessly, and then you're actually inside of, like, think of like the Death Star, where you have like that giant like window and you see all the stormtroopers there. So that was we walked. I actually wanted to hang out in that section more to just stare at the stormtroopers and all the other details, but they're rushing you, like, because I get it, they wanted the line moving, but so awesome. And then after that, you go into another pre-room, like pre-show room. A lot of this they're sorting because there's different,
Different tracks and things.
exactly, just it's huge. And then basically, you basically held prisoner, and then you get broken out of it. And then you actually jump into your escape pod, and then you run around inside the Star Destroyer of the what they call
First order.
the first one. I keep wanting to say the other one, the Empire. But yeah, after that, I mean, like, PJ, at the scale, you see the AT-AT walkers. There's like a basically like not an R. It's basically like an R2 unit in your thing. It's like like wow, that whole thing. And
It's wild. I
yeah,
mean,
and it's I think the
and
most
the way they do certain things, like I don't know how it is in California because I've only been on in Florida, but they have like a lightsaber like come through the ceiling, and you're like, how is there a lightsaber at me right now? Like it
yeah.
just feels like that Kylo Ren is really cutting through the walls. The way they do it, the the animatronics don't even feel like animatronics. You feel like these are actors. They're so realistic.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I think the part that I'm most fascinated by anything else is these these trackless cars.
Hmm.
So, folks, just imagine, like, just to make life easy, think about a train, a choo-choo train with no tracks, and it's just guiding, just through computers. It's not the length of a train, but think about the size of like a small car, and it's unbelievable how
It really
it's just
is.
I don't know, technology has gone so far, and yeah,
And
it has different things where it's like multiple things. It has like I guess you could call it like it has like somewhat of a show within it, right?
mhm.
With the pre-show, then you have I guess more or less it's a dark ride, and then at a few points it becomes like a motion simulator where it goes like it locks in and you're like flying around in the screen and all that. So
Then it has like a drop, like a Tower of Terror drop
yeah,
almost.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's so many different things that ride does. At one point, you just look straight down. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
What you missed out on though is that ride is great. But I was telling you a little about this the other day. That ride was designed to go with the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. So if you
mm,
had stayed in the hotel, they right now you're on that ride, right? And then you get
yeah,
taken over by the first order and everything else. But when you stay at the hotel, there's a reason for you to go on the ride. You're trying to get a message to Leia because the Halcyon Star Cruiser that you're on for this vacation gets taken over by the First Order. Then you have to be part of the Resistance, get a message to Leia, and all of the rides tie into the hotel. They stand alone, and it's just perfectly fine. But when you have that extra backstory of what the hotel is doing, and then you go on the ride, and it becomes a lot different. You know how they're always looking for a traitor on the ride. That
yeah.
if you side with the First Order in the hotel, that you're the reason why that ship gets caught in the first place
Oh, nice.
because you're giving the First Order the tip that there's a rebellion resistance member on the thing. Like it really ties into it, and it's a crazy way to do it. Even with Smuggler's Run, I don't know if you went on that.
Yep.
But
Mm-hmm.
on Smuggler's Run, you have to get coaxium. That's the point of the ride. That tied back into the hotel because they needed coaxium on the hotel to fight against the First Order. So those two rides, even the shops in the Galaxy's Edge Park, the people that work at those parks when the hotel was open gave you missions and clues to do that tied back to what you were doing on the hotel. So I mean that's closed now, so everyone's shit out of luck. You don't get to see it, but
Right.
having done it, it it takes that park from being all right. That's really great. That's an awesome ride. That's pretty cool. This looks look, you can see a full sized X-wing or whatever, and it all looks great, right? But when
Mm-hmm.
you stayed in the hotel, it takes it to another level because have you have you been in the parks and you see the X-wing light up or the
Oh yeah,
droid
yeah, yeah. Oh
each
yeah.
other?
Mm-hmm.
That was all part of the hotel. You were
Yeah.
hacking into different things to free different. There was so much involved, and I don't think people really truly will ever get the full experience of what that park was meant to be, having not done the Star Cruiser Hotel. And like I said, everyone's shit out of luck. That's closed
Yeah.
forever, probably. It was
Yeah.
very, very, very expensive. It limited the amount of people who could go, but it truly takes that park to another level.
Right. Yeah. I think my only negative about this ride, PJ, my only negative is that I wish it took place in terms of a storyline
In the
with
car,
Darth
yeah,
Vader. All
yep,
that. I mean, that's what you really want to see, and that's no
absolutely,
disrespect towards. I
absolutely,
like Kylo Ren. I can't think of the actor's name, but I like him. But you really want to see these characters. Um,
exactly.
which leads me to the next one is Smuggler's Run. Which is, dude, I gotta say, seeing the Millennium Falcon full scale, bro.
Oh, it's
Whoa,
wild.
that was awesome. So cool, so cool. The ride itself, it's not bad. It's basically like Star Tours,
It's a little
but
smoother.
yes,
A little more high def. But yeah,
yeah,
it's more interactive because you get to put the ship
yeah,
in light speed and all that other stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely fun, but yeah, it's just a motion simulator.
Yeah.
Um, when you went on that ride, what role
Well,
did
I
you
want to
get?
tell you a story. So I went on vacation with my wife and my brother. So my wife and I both were the pilots, which was cool.
Okay,
So she was doing like she put the thrust into
yeah,
hyperspace and all that stuff, and I was steering left and right, and my brother was a gunner. And when you're a gunner, folks, you're basically just hitting buttons. I thought it was like you actually sat down with, like a gun, like
no, you just hitting a button.
yeah, and then there's engineering where you press like buttons if you get like damaged or some shit. But the funny part was because you go with other people, you know what I mean? It's like you can hold 6 people. So there's this other like couple. They're probably like these. It was these two ladies, maybe in their late 50s, 60s. This woman must have been like a huge Star Wars fan or like really passionate about this ride. As soon as we sat down, she's like, "Oh, this ride's really sensitive. You got to make sure I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like, no problem. I'm not gonna, like I'm trying to be funny. Oh yeah, I got the plane. Don't worry. I got the ship. Don't worry, dude. This lady's barking at me like as if it's a real like you gotta turn left, you gotta. And I want to be like, I want to turn like, man, I don't think I'm controlling it that much. You know what I mean? Because if you press left, the thing doesn't really shift left. It's really more like when you play a video game where it says hit left and you press left.
Right.
It's really responding to your commands. It's
At
not
the end of
really
the day, that video is going to do what that video is going to do.
exactly. But this lady was just like freaking like no joke, like like yelling, like you gotta do like I'm like, lady, calm down. But PJ, before we move on to some of the other rides, now PJ, don't get mad at me, don't hate me, okay? I'm just gonna call it as it is. We got to Disneyland. I think it was on a Tuesday, right? And as soon as we got into Disney, we went right to got Rise of Resistance, right? And after that, we did Smuggler's Run. And while we're there, like, oh wow, this is good, man. Today, like, is not too bad. It's like not super packed, Dude, as soon as we left that section, it was like mayhem.
Oh
And
yeah.
I know I'm not trying to be. They have said that Star Wars World isn't as busy as they wanted it to be. They want it to be like crazy, like Harry Potter. You can't. It's busy there all day. There's not an inch of space, But I was just very surprised that it was compared to the rest of the other sections of the park. I mean,
Here,
Star Wars Land is like no, I don't want to say dead. That's unfair
yeah.
to say.
I've never
But
been to it in
compared
California, so
compared to the other
yeah.
sections, it
I
was like
can't speak to California because I've never been to the Star Wars section there. I've only done the Florida one. The Florida one is packed, but I think the difference between Harry Potter Land and Star Wars Land is that up until very recently, Universal didn't have anything other than Harry Potter. Like that Marvel stuff that they had, right? And again, just comparing it to the Florida one was all
mhm.
old stuff, even the Transformers. Where in Disney, there's still more to see and you could spread out more. I think that's part of it. Why Star Wars isn't as packed as because when I go to like Universal, I don't give a shit about Jimmy Fallon's ride. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
longest time, all they really had was they before they put Harry Potter in there, I wasn't even going to Universal. I'm like, I don't care. I didn't care about that park. That really
Right.
brought so many people in, and the only reason people were going was for that. I think with all the new stuff they're adding though, for like the Epic Universe and all that, that's gonna lighten the load for Harry Potter, and you'll be able to actually do that ride.
Right, that's a
Yeah.
fair point. But like I said, I was surprised when we left that section that rest of the park was packed. Um,
Well, I was just curious since I know you've been to both parks. Do you find you like the rides where they have the same ride, like say Pirates, right?
yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
Haunted Mansion? Do you like the California versions better or the Florida versions better?
I think I know. For instance, I think always get mixed up, but I think the Pirates of the Caribbean is longer than
Hmm.
the one in Florida.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, yeah, do I like it because it's better because it's longer? Yeah, because you want the ride to last longer. Yeah.
yeah. Because I found myself liking the rides better in California and in Paris than I did in Florida. Not to say the rides in Florida are bad; they're still fun. I love them, but the like the Pirates in California is so great, and there's like a restaurant there,
Yep,
like
yep.
that overlooks the ride, and I ate at that restaurant. But like, there's just it feels like even though the park itself is smaller, the things that they have are more cared for, if that
Yeah,
makes sense in a way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're
There's more
saying. Yeah,
charm to it in California than there is. Disney's just like Disney World in Florida is just like a mechanism to pump people through to get their money. Where I
yeah.
feel like in California, it's more like you can appreciate some of it more because it's longer and more thought out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they have to be like that because they don't have the space. They have to be
Right.
so particular and um but yeah, that was a great question. I don't really I think it really just becomes like you just get greedy. You want bigger.
Hmm.
I like Harry Potter better in Florida because it's bigger. You got more rides there, and you know what I
Right.
mean. They don't have the same amount of crap there. So
Yeah.
and especially with Universal, you don't have to walk all the way up these using these escalators.
The escalator of death.
And
That thing is
yeah.
terrifying.
And they got to add to with these parks, especially Disney right now. They got to find another mode of transportation to get from each section because walking, especially Disneyland, is awful. I don't know what it is. I find it hard to navigate. But like, Star Wars World is in a different section. Everything is just like It's really even Florida. They need to find out. They need to, we talked about getting rid of the rivers of America. They need to when you go to the Magic Kingdom there, they got to get rid of like having to take that ferry, taking the monorail there. It's exhausting. I know they have the buses there. I mean, this stuff was designed decades ago, but they got to find just some kind of like I don't know if maybe they got to build a subway. I have no clue, but they got to maybe bring back the sky like some kind of sky ride. I don't know,
Well,
but
in Disney World, they have the Skyliner now that'll take you from certain hotels
part
to two of the
yeah,
parks.
but I'm talking about like a part of the park to the other side. I mean, it is just
Well, they have the Disneyland Railroad.
yeah,
It's
but
always under construction, so you can never
exactly
use
the
it.
problem.
But
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's rough, man. But moving along, PJ, I went on the Mickey Mouse Railway. So they have the same ride.
the Runaway Railway thing.
Yeah, and it's cute. Like I say, it's very cute.
Yeah.
They have a really good catchy song. That's like, what is it like? Don't you can stop. You know, it's good. All I could say is my only negative of the ride is it's too many screens for me. Really, it's not really. I like when they have animatronics, but it's cute. I'm being nitpicky here, but it almost feels empty the ride because it's on a trackless ride and
there's nothing in it. It's just
just
There's
screens.
very few actual physical props there. It's just like because they want you to feel like you're in a cartoon. I guess I get it. I think the ride itself is very fun, and I think the animation and all that stuff they put on those screens is cool. But I get what you're saying, especially because like in Disney World where it replaced the Great Movie Ride, which was all like props and animatronics, and even like the cast member who led the ride was all part of it, and it felt like you were actually in something.
Yeah.
Whereas this one feels like I get where you're coming from with that.
But it's a cute ride. And it's amazing how this is the first Mickey Mouse ride. Like, how's that even? I really think they need to eventually build a true blue, like Mickey Mouse ride, like one that has Goofy in it, Donald, all those guys. Like, I want to see them like robots. Maybe they gotta get the sorcerer's hat. I don't know what they gotta do, but they gotta make a ride like that eventually. This next ride in Avengers Campus in Disneyland. I didn't really love, man. It's the Spider-Man web slinger. Did you go
I've
on
never
that?
done that. I haven't been on that one. It wasn't open when I was there.
Did you do Toy Story Mania?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's the same thing as Toy Story Mania, but instead of pulling like the cannon, you actually, which is this part's amazing in terms of technology, you actually use your hands like a Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
And it registers it and actually aims it. So
that's cool.
Folks, to kind of explain what this is, when you go on the Spider-Man ride, for Disney, not the Universal. I think the Universal ride is 100 times better than this. But basically, you go from like it's very much like Toy Story Mania. It's basically like a video game. The Toy Story Mania is better. Basically, you sit in a car and they take you from screen to screen. So in Toy Story Mania, you go from different. You're in this car, but you go from two different screens, and it's like basically carnival games. You're hitting like plates off like those shooting games from like Back to the Future. Hey man, that's a kid's toy, whatever the heck it is. But yeah, when you're on the Spider-Man ride, you're basically. I thought this was lame. I thought the story was lame. You see Tom Holland come out and he makes his own Spider-Man spider robots, like these little like miniature robots, and they self duplicate, and there's so many of them. It's gonna like destroy the land. So you have to go on the ride, and this part's amazing how your hands can read your hand and it's accurately hitting what you're aiming at, but there's no villains in it. You just basically just seeing Spider-Man jump around and you're just shooting robot.
Really? I didn't realize there were no villains or anything in it.
Nah, that's why they turned it off. And I don't, sometimes I don't want to do anything on a ride.
You know what I mean? Sit there and have the ride do the work. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but check it out. And then I saw this. This was pretty cool. This is my last Disney thing. Was we lucked out where we've been to the Haunted Mansion. I love that ride. Awesome. But right now they're getting ready for Halloween, so they made
they're doing
for Christmas.
Before Christmas. I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, you would love it. Your wife would love it, dude. It's sick. I can honestly say it's almost better, if not better than the original. Because
I've heard that.
It's amazing, and it's not like they just put like a like a statue of like Jack Skellington in.
No, like the whole ride is like rethemed.
The whole ride, it's amazing how the whole ride is entirely redone. Like, it's amazing how they even do it. like certain things you can tell like they put like something on top of another like
Right.
animatronic, but it's all like Jack Skellington, and you see Sally, you see all the other freaks, you see all the other you know those little kids, those little gremlin
Yeah.
kids who are like
Lock, stock, and barrel.
those knuckleheads. They're running around. It's cool, man. Like it's awesome.
They can't do that in Florida because Florida.
Really?
Yeah, so the reason they can't do it in Florida is it takes them so long to set it up. That ride is down for months while they retheme it, and Disney World gets too much traffic to shut down a ride
That
that's
eats people
that
eater,
many
as they say.
people. Yeah.
Damn. Wow.
Like, yeah, exactly. So because it eats that many people, if they were to shut it down, all
Holy
the other
shit.
lines would become like way longer because now everyone that ride's not there. So they'll never be able to do it in Florida. They only do it in California because the crowd control is so much easier there.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Makes sense. I was gonna say, my last thing for Disney, so I messed that up. But I, I've been this once before. I guess you call it fairly new still. The Guardians of the Galaxy new
The
version of
drop,
Tower. Yeah, the
yeah,
Tower of Terror. It's cool. I was really heartbroken. Thank God they still have the Twilight Zone one in Florida. I
yeah,
think that ride's still better in terms of storing and just like making you
yeah,
really
for
get
sure,
scared.
for sure.
You know. But yeah, it's cool. I really enjoyed it. I gotta say they did a really good job. This time around. So, but I want to talk about some of the Universal stuff. Going back to Super Mario Land, the Mario Kart ride. So basically how it is that they actually give you a Super Mario hat that you put on,
Hmm.
and then it's like made out of plastic. And then when you get inside the actual vehicle, another visor connects to it, and you basically get you don't really yeah, you're not really steering it. It's almost like a dark. It is like half dark ride, half like virtual reality.
Okay,
Because as you're moving forward, you're trying to shoot Bowser and like the Koopa kids. It's
okay,
pretty accurate. You know, um, at the same time, I almost just wanted to be a dark ride and just see some cool robots, and they have a
right.
little bit of that in there. But
I feel like that ride should have been a bumper cars in some at some point.
right, yeah, that's a great idea. But unfortunately, the ride is fine. I don't think it's amazing. I think a slight miss of an opportunity there, like you said, a bumper cars would have been even something simple as that, or but it's cool. I would
Do they
definitely.
have Rainbow Road?
Yep. Ringo, all the stuff you like, they do it. And when you
Right.
shoot, and if you get hit, they hit you. If you're unable to shoot them, your car does spin out like
Oh,
whoa.
okay.
So it is pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's cool.
I guess it's not a terrible ride. I think it's worth waiting on, of course. I guess a warning: if you're motion sickness, you're gonna get probably a headache. I got a headache, so be careful with that one. But yeah, definitely check out Mario Kart. But I'm excited for the other rides that they'll bring in. Um, Secret Life of Pets, awesome. It actually kept breaking down when I was on it, but Secret Life of Pets is a really cool dark ride. It's super cute. It's great. All the animatronics and is
So
really
I
great.
learned a thing about rides that keep breaking down.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if this would happen on your ride, but I know it happens on Haunted Mansion a lot and a few other rides.
Hmm.
When it's breaking down, it's usually because they had to stop the ride to put someone on the ride who has some sort of disability. So like a
Mm.
wheelchair, right? If someone's in a
Right.
wheelchair and they got to
Yes.
transfer into the ride, they have to stop the whole ride to get that person on and get that person off. So
Mm.
when the rides keep breaking down, a lot of the time it's because they're transferring these people from the ride to their wheelchair or their little scooter, whatever they have. Or even if it's just someone who needs a little bit more time to walk, they can't walk that fast. That's usually why when you see a ride breaking down a lot while you're on it and they don't
Mm.
take you off the ride completely, it's usually not because it's broken down. They got to keep stopping it for this reason, which I totally get, and it's fine. Like it is what it is. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are times where it kind of like breaks the immersion of the ride a little bit, and
Yep.
that there's nothing you can do about it. But it does get sometimes you're like, oh man, I was really into what was going on right now in this ride,
Exactly.
and
That's
now
what
I
was kind
feel
of
like
happening to
it's
us. Yeah.
yeah, it
I guess.
takes you out of it. There's nothing you could
Mhm.
do, but it takes you out of the moment.
Exactly. Correct the mundo. And in terms of Universal, they have another the one in Florida. Have you been on Velocicoaster? I heard that
I did
Velociraptor
not.
crossover.
Jen went on
Mhm,
that. I did
mhm,
not. The problem I have with Universal is they are not as they say in Disney, poo-sized friendly.
Right.
So, and in Disney, you can go on any ride, no matter what size you are. They make sure of it, which is why they don't have too many thrill rides. Because the more thrill rides you have, the more safety precautions, the
Of
less people you
course.
can
Yeah.
accommodate.
Hmm.
Universal doesn't subscribe to that same theory of we want to make sure everyone goes on every ride. So what they wind up doing is the rides are smaller and it's for safety. Like I
Yeah.
can't get mad at them.
Yeah.
It's my fault, right? Um, but I couldn't go on Velocicoaster because the thing wouldn't close when I went on the
Right.
test seat, so I didn't get to go on that one. But that is a big difference for people who choose a park to go to. If you're a big dude or big lady, either way, you're probably not going to get your money's worth out of at a Universal the way you will in Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for the thrill rides.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I really did enjoy PJ, and I was nervous about this because I love the original is the Jurassic World River
Mm,
ride. Because I love the people call it. Look, there's been a Splash Mountain isn't the first log flume where you go down
right.
a big drop. Okay, but I love the original Jurassic Park, and
The
thank God they.
drop on that original Jurassic Park ride is
Mm,
terrifying.
yeah,
It's just like I don't know. I don't. It's so like tall and
yeah,
steep. Like
yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah, so the and I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed the new version. My only negative is like if you remember the original one, when you first like start the ride after you go off like up the chain, it's
Hmm.
like welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Now you just enter and from Jurassic World, that giant like aquarium they
Hmm.
have, it's like that giant
Yeah.
monster fish. You
Yeah.
basically walk into you go into that section, so it's like kind of like screens,
Okay.
and like when he
Yeah.
like comes near, and you're gonna get soaked on this version. This version of it, you are 100%
There's
gonna
no
get.
safe seat. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, not this version. But once you get past, and that part's fine. But I gotta say, all the other stuff is cool. Like you have the gyro spear. If you remember from
Hmm.
Jurassic World, they have that. It's like cracked. Obviously, it's like the Indominus Rex breaks out, and I'll just get to the. Maybe I should just spoil it, PJ. So at the end when the from the original, remember when the T Rex used to come out and like bite you? And you went whoa.
Yeah.
Now right before you go down the drop, Indominus Rex starts trying to eat you, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, T Rex comes in with a right hook, and they start fighting each other,
Ah. Okay.
and then you go down. But they're huge, huge, and then yeah, then you splash down. The things I do miss, which I always love about Universal, like they know their place. They're like, yeah, we're not Disney, so they kind of make fun of themselves. So like,
Hmm.
if you go on the Mummy ride, one of the mummies has like a Mickey Mouse hat on,
Yeah.
and they took it out. I remember in the old one they used to have like two raptors, like baby raptors, like trying to pull apart a Mickey Mouse hat.
Hmm.
But this thing I'm really crushed is the original one that had the Barbasol can floating.
Yes.
They took
Yeah.
it out. They took it.
Ah. Because
I know it. It's
I
not a
guess it
part of
doesn't mean
Jurassic
much
World.
anymore in the new movies. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, I love that little Easter egg. But
Yeah.
yeah, the ride's awesome though. But PJ, as we're wrapping things up here, I guess my question to you is, are you excited for these parks, PJ?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I can't wait to go to all of them.
Mhm.
I um I figure I got some time
Yeah,
before they open. I know I want to go back to the parks next year. We're turning 40 next year, so that's going to be like our thing. We're going to go to Disney when
yeah,
we turn 40. That's our plan anyway. We'll see how it goes. But I don't think most of this is going to be up and running. The Disney stuff certainly won't be. Some of the Universal stuff might be up and running.
yeah. I think next year it
Yeah,
opens. Next summer, Epic
yeah.
Universe opens.
But the
Um,
Disney stuff, I don't know when that's going to open. It
mhm.
is a massive amount of work that they have to do to make all this stuff happen. What I'm a little worried about is how much is that going to impact the rest of the parks? Like how
Yeah,
much will be closed down while they're trying to do this other stuff? But
yeah,
I'm super excited for all of it. I think it's all going to be great.
yeah. And like you said, how it impacts the park. Because when I went to Disneyland, Splash Mountain and Space Mountain were both shut down for refurbishment. So
Yeah.
it's like, yikes. Um, yeah, I'm really excited for Universal big time with Epic Universe. I love Universal, man. And I really, because it's funny because they have the Simpsons section, which now Disney owns that. So I think their lease ends on that. I'm supposedly they're gonna put like a Pokemon section now, more
Yeah,
attention
that's what I
to it,
heard too.
which I'm kind of excited about.
I
Actually,
would be interested to see what Disney does with like Simpsons stuff. That's what I was saying. A lot of these licenses now, like whether it's Harry Potter owned by Warner Brothers, there's so much like cross contamination in some of these parks
hmm
where it's like The Simpsons, is Disney ever going to do anything with the Simpsons in their parks? Probably not.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose out on that stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm. And my two things, PJ, before we go, is I just can't believe Universal has not made a SpongeBob ride. That
Right?
show's been around for 25 years, or some
At
kind of
least a
water
dark
park.
ride. At least a
Yeah,
dark
water
ride for
park
that.
or a log flume.
Yeah.
And oh crap, what was I gonna say? No. Oh gosh, darn it. Mm.
There's a lot they could do with Nickelodeon. Like they really don't use that.
Oh, I remember
So
now.
like, why not have a Ninja Turtles something or other?
I think that's probably coming. I know one of them has it now.
There's got to
Somebody
be,
has
right?
it. No
Well,
one really.
they're owned by Nickelodeon. Well, I think. Well, that's who does all the TV shows for them. So
Yeah,
if Nickelodeon does the shows, no reason why they can't have a ride.
I agree. My last thing, PJ, I really wish Universal would get somehow the rights to DC. Because
Yeah.
unfortunately they're a part of Six Flags, and Six Flags is just a horrendous job with those heroes.
It's just rides.
they just
It's
paint
just
the
rides with the
ride
Superman
black
symbol
and
on it.
yep, and slap
Yeah.
it on there. And wouldn't it be so cool to ride a Batmobile or
Absolutely.
be inside of a the Fortress of Solitude and
There's so much they could do.
oh my gosh, ride the
I
invisible jet.
they have supposedly a big DC park in like Abu Dhabi or some shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's not on my list of places to get to. I would be cool if Universal could do something with that. Or even if Warner Brothers just opened their own park. But that's what I mean. Like if Warner Brothers like we could have a park,
Yeah.
you'd have all the DC stuff, but then what do you do with like a Harry Potter that you can't have? That's what I mean. Like if one day Warner Brothers decides they're not against making money. Right now, it seems like they don't want any money. They like to lose it all. But if one day they get a new CEO and they're like, it would be a new change of pace if we don't operate in the red this year, and then,
Right.
and then they start making some money, and then someone's like, what if we had a theme park?
Yeah.
Would you put in it other than DC? All your big things are like licensed out already.
I think for them, I don't think they want, like you said, even though it's a lot of money, I think they don't even want to open
They
up
don't
that
want
can
any.
of worms.
They just want to not.
They
Just want to not get sold to Disney.
Yeah.
That's where they're at this point. Like if Disney doesn't buy us, it was a successful year. I don't know what they need to do. All they do is lose money. I mean, it's just unbelievable. They make movies, they don't release them. How do you? All right, you didn't release the Batgirl movie, which I thought was a bad idea, but okay. But then they don't even release the Looney Tunes movie that they had.
Oh yeah.
It's another one that was completely finished. We're not going to do anything with that. Why did you make these movies? You spend so much money, and they don't even put the movies out into the world. The ones they do put out are terrible. I don't know what they're doing. They are just against being profitable.
Like
I mean, they might as well be a 501c. They're a charitable organization. They're not making any money.
Strange, man. Even just the thing with Henry Cavill, that was weird.
All
like
strange.
Just bizarre.
Like all they have is Harry Potter. They got to brush off that wand, and they're like, we need a TV show. Quick, get us Harry Potter. Like that's all they have. And James Gunn's gonna save Warner Brothers with this movie. Stop it! It's not gonna happen. Even if that movie's great, it wouldn't make a difference. Like it's too late. Like I don't know what they're gonna do.
All I know is you and I will be here to talk about it.
We sure will.
But great stuff. Yeah, folks, thanks for listening. Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.